Beneath the dry sands of Albuquerque's West Mesa, a chilling secret lay hidden for years. In 2009, a woman walking her dog discovered a human bone, the first clue in what would become one of America's largest and most disturbing crime scenes. 11 women and an unborn child, all buried by a killer who has never been caught. No name, no witnesses, only a haunting nickname, the West Mesa Bone Collector. This is the story of the victims, the investigation, and the mystery that still grips a city to this day. It was February 2nd, 2009. Christine Ross was out walking her dog, Ruka, in the undeveloped stretch of land on Albuquerque's West Mesa. The area, once planned for suburban development, had turned into a dumping ground, a forgotten expanse of scrub brush and sand. Suddenly, Ruka unearthed something strange. Christine leaned in for a closer look and realized she was staring at a human femur. She called the police, not yet knowing she had uncovered the beginning of a mass grave. Over the next few weeks, a massive excavation effort unfolded. Bulldozers dug through tons of dry earth. Investigators combed through bone fragments, clothing, and personal effects. When the digging finally stopped, the horror was clear. 11 women and a fetus had been buried across an area the size of 100 football fields. Each body told a story, not just of death, but of systematic disposal. These weren't shallow graves. They were carefully spaced, hidden from view, and most tragically, ignored for years. The victims were all women, all missing for years, some since 2003. They ranged in age from teenagers to women in their late 20s. Their names include Michelle Valdez, 22, 4 months pregnant when she disappeared in 2004. Victoria Chavez, 26. Jamie Barella, 15, the youngest victim. Evelyn Salazar, 27, Jamie's cousin. And 7 more, each with their own life, their own family, their own story. Many of these women shared a common profile: Hispanic, involved in sex work or drugs, and often transient. They had vanished without a trace in the early 2000s, during a time when violent crime in Albuquerque was high and attention to marginalized communities was tragically low. For years, their disappearances were treated as individual cases. Now, the truth was undeniable. They were victims of a serial killer. Police and FBI agents launched a full-scale investigation. But despite years of effort, no one has ever been arrested. There are, however, several key suspects and theories. 1. Lorenzo Montoya. Montoya was a local man with a disturbing history. He lived just a few miles from the burial site. In 2006, he was killed by the boyfriend of a teenage girl he had strangled in his trailer. Police found evidence suggesting he had lured sex workers with promises of money, then murdered them. After his death, the West Mesa killings stopped. But investigators never found direct proof linking him to the buried bodies. 2. The Suspect 118 theory. In 2010, the FBI released a poster with an unnamed Suspect 118, a man connected to at least one of the victims. He had been a frequent client of sex workers and was under surveillance, but again, no charges were ever filed. 3. The human trafficking theory. Some investigators believe the killings may be tied to a larger criminal network, perhaps linked to human trafficking. This theory suggests the killer may not have acted alone. But the truth is chilling: no fingerprints, no DNA, and no eyewitnesses. The bone collector was methodical, calculated, and he left no trace. What makes this case even more heartbreaking is how long these women were missing before anyone connected the dots. Families reported their loved ones missing, and in many cases, felt ignored by law enforcement. Some were told their daughters were probably just off partying or had run away. But they hadn't. They had been murdered and buried in the desert. The victims were part of vulnerable populations, women on the margins of society. And for too long, their lives were treated as disposable. The West Mesa case exposed a painful truth, not just about the killer, but about how society fails to protect its most at-risk citizens. Since 2009, the case has remained officially open. Albuquerque police, the FBI, and state agencies continue to follow leads. A special task force was created, and tips still come in. Billboards offering rewards for information still stand along highways in New Mexico. In recent years, new technologies in forensic genealogy have helped solve other cold cases. Families of the West Mesa victims hold on to hope that one day, DNA will finally expose the killer's identity. Meanwhile, the burial site has been turned into a memorial. Crosses bearing the victims' names dot the windswept land. A place once filled with silence and death is now filled with remembrance. The West Mesa Bone Collector remains one of America's most chilling unsolved serial killer cases. He didn't just take lives, he buried them beneath society's indifference, under the radar of justice. For years, no one noticed the pattern. And even now, we don't know his name, his face, or where he might be. Is he still out there? Or did he die before ever facing justice? What we do know is this: these women mattered. Their lives mattered, and their stories deserve to be told. Because even if the killer remains in the shadows, the truth most not. If you found this case as chilling as we did, help us bring more attention to these forgotten victims. Like this video, subscribe to True Crime Hub, and let us know in the comments, do you believe the killer was someone local or part of something bigger? And as always, stay curious, stay safe, and never forget the ones who were lost.